Hello. I am sick. These two aren't, so you're going to hear a lot less from me. Hooray.
More than just the head.
They can do all the talking. Uh, this was the NRL first round of finals.
And the last round for the NRLW.
Yeah, pretty good week of football, I'd say.
Yeah. Some blowouts, which were a bit unfortunate, especially in the girls.
Well, unfortunately, the Roosters exist, so there's always going to be blowouts.
They absolutely came.
They blew out Sharks.
Sharks quite
badly. Who needs a halfback? They can just chuck their winger at hooker and they'll be fine.
Yeah, apparently.
I hate the Roosters. It's so annoying.
They're going to win. I'm sorry. My prediction is the Roosters are going to win, and it's going to be against Brisbane.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Right?
I will give Naividi full credit for her game here. She was very, very good. I think she only missed one tackle as being a winger playing hooker. Yeah. They lost Karen Aitken 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
So, and then as a result of that, you saw a lot more of Jocelyn Kelleher and Keely Davis as well was very, very prevalent in this game for the Roosters. Very, very good. Olivia Koenig continues.
As normal.
Olivia Koenig goes over 200 meters. Just, standard Roosters things.
Ellie Johnson was good for the Sharks, but she's always very solid.
She just does her thing. It must be the Johnston name. Very good. Amber Hall is very good.
Amber Hall is very scary.
We have established this.
Yes. Amber Hall is excellent at this.
She is very, very good. I think having Polynesian blood probably helps quite a large amount. Probably. She just, insane, right?
The Roosters are an insane team.
Indeed. They're just going to be, they have to be favourites, and it's fair.
To win the premiership, I put them at $1.05.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone beating.
They could almost be odds on, to be fair. They could be at 95 cents.
Yeah, I don't see anybody beating this team unless there is a catastrophe at some point.
Nearly as sure things as Farlap, it's just like...
Cronulla did their best. There's not much for them to talk about here. It's just, we brought up Ellie Johnson, she's good. Georgia Hanaway is fine, but there just wasn't much here for Cronulla. They were thoroughly... They only completed at 60.
That's not good enough in any sport.
Especially against this Roosters team.
Well, the Roosters didn't actually complete amazingly well themselves.
They don't need to.
No, that's fair.
They don't need to. That's the thing.
50% and still win by 40.
Yeah, well, they could have 30% possession and win by 3 tries.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
They're just so insane when they have the ball.
They lapped them just 400 more meters. It's just crazy.
Very, very good performance from them. And holding the Sharks while they one offload is also integral. So, the Roosters are very, very good. The Sharks just ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah.
The Eels flogged the Bulldogs
in
their final game of the year. Just to say, you know what, we're actually going to look like a competitive team for once. Just complete domination.
They're up against the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs who have been good at points this year, to be fair.
They've been good, but they've been inconsistent. They're kind of like another team that I know.
The Eels decided to be good one game and still didn't make finals.
But no, they were just great. 57% of the ball, they completed at 83%. 10 line breaks, only 18 missed tackles to 43 tackles.
Yeah.
Just very, very strong.
Yeah, no, they were way better. The team was way better.
Rachel Pearson is a phenomenal footballer. She is so good. Just she kicked 5 goals, 2 try assists, 100 plus meters. Just very, very good all around. Abby Church, I feel like, had her best game of the season as well. She is quite a good player. There's a lot of good for the...
They've got a good thing to look forward to for next year, I think. It's something to build on, right? A little bit like the men's team, actually.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that. They still have Elsie Albert, so,
Yeah, they will. Yes, he's very good. Elsie Albert.
For the Bulldogs, it's kind of just the story of their year.
Yeah.
Kate Runner, Takala, and Talia were very, very good. Very good. Elizabeth McGregor was good on the wing. She's a strong player, but outside that, there's just nothing here.
Look, they were outplayed, thoroughly outplayed.
Their squad is very top-heavy.
Yeah.
Like, the good people are really good, but outside
big drop back.
It's a very, very big drop off.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can build out their squad over the next couple of seasons. They
Even
could be,
a little bit.
they could be a legit contender with like this core that they have.
Yeah.
I think they could be a good team.
Build their squad.
The Titans beat the Raiders in another field goal, golden point showing game. I don't know why the Raiders keep doing this. I don't know why the Raiders keep doing this.
Yeah.
But, the Titans win. What's their place in the finals? Good for them. They did enough to win. That's all that they did this year.
Yes, and they will be the first team out of the final. Either way.
Who plays first?
Yeah, actually,
It's not.
Cronulla might be the first team out. We'll talk about that
No,
shortly.
I think it is Newcastle Gold Coast.
Interesting.
Anyway, I'll talk about that when we get
Yeah, the Titans just do what they have to do. I still think they're a good team, especially when you have the likes of Georgia Hale, who is one of my favorite players to watch. 200 plus meters, churned out 80 minutes, 5 tackle breaks, 59 tackles with only 2 misses.
Yeah.
Very, very good player.
Yeah.
I'm also liking Sienna Lofipo in the forwards. She's been very, very strong. Just lots of good here. It's 5 offloads, no missed tackles for 33. Just very, very strong.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
That's what they need to do. The Raiders they've been another one in the NRLW, been a bit up and down this season.
They've been very towards the back end of the year. That's for
They
sure.
got very, very well against the Roosters, like the best team in the comp a couple of weeks ago, losing by a try or something. I mean, most teams are getting flogged by the Roosters at the moment. So, and they couldn't quite ice this game, obviously.
No. But, it's big performances from the Triple Ts. Tafuga, Temina, and Taufa were all phenomenal here. Samima Taufa especially is a great performer.
A good leader. She wears her heart on her sleeve. You can see her. She's just
She is
very hard worker. Very, loves Canberra. Obviously, wants to stay there. So
Taufa's 49 tackles for only 1 miss.
Yeah, that's good in any league.
It is. It absolutely is. So there's I think the big thing for the Raiders, they can't make meters very well outside Samima Taufa. There's just not a lot of forward.
Remember what contact moves.
Yeah, it's just, and they can't offload. That's the problem for them, unfortunately. They'll get that will get better with time, I think. I think next year they'll be quite a bit better than they were this year.
Right.
Because, 3 tries apiece.
Yeah, it was close.
Theoretically, the Titans should have won earlier because Lauren Brown only kicked 1 from 3.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's it.
Yeah. It's just the Titans made it to finals, won't go very far. The Raiders are bad.
Yeah.
So are the Tigers. Who win their final game of the year, threw in the towel against the Warriors.
Absolutely.
59% possession for the Warriors. And the Tigers completed it 55%. This was a team that wasn't playing for anything, in my opinion.
The Warriors actually also didn't have anything to play for, but
they care a lot more about football.
I think they do.
Like, the only bright spot for the Tigers is Togatuki because she's great. And even then, she had one of her worst games this year. There's just not much to go on here. Everyone but one missed a tackle at least. Only Klein, of course, it's a Klein that doesn't miss any tackles. So
I'm not sure are they related?
Possibly. I have no idea. But, it's just the Tigers had nothing to play for in the bad sense. The Warriors had nothing to play for and took that in the good sense.
Yes, that's what I understand. Some fun. And, score a lot of points.
Yes, 44 points is very, very good.
That's a very good score.
I think that their bench forwards are the quarterfinals next year.
They have the best bench forwards in the competition.
Absolutely. It's so good.
They've got definitely something to build on. And let's remember, this is their first actual year because the one that they were going to be in, they couldn't thanks to COVID, right? So,
They got relegated.
Oh, they were relegated.
Yeah, but they physically couldn't field the squad.
Yeah. So, this is basically their coming in. So they're going to give them a bit of time.
Oh, yeah. And I think for a first full season, it'll be pretty successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you have these people like Lautali'i, something like that. Ivana, she's excellent. Albert Jones is excellent. Something like that, yeah. Albert Jones is phenomenal. I think they have a couple of... they'll have another preseason to work out the halves, I think was the big thing for this season. Because everything else is doing all right. Like, Peyton Takamawala is a phenomenal player in the centres. They've got a lot of very, very good. Hopefully next year they can convert that into a longer season.
Their bench forwards were lots.
Oh yeah, Harata Butler churning at 170 meters.
4 meters, that's crazy.
Very
From the
good.
bench, that's impressive.
Yeah, led the team.
Yeah,
Led the team in meters.
and runs by look 17 of them.
In 41 minutes.
Yeah, no, she's a
She is
keeper.
excellent.
Definitely a keeper for the Warriors. Yeah.
The St George Tegan-Berries couldn't quite get up over Newcastle, unfortunately.
No. Would have been nice because
it would have been very nice. Newcastle were just the better team here. They completed at 84%. They were just very, very solid. And
there's not a huge amount of difference between the two teams overall.
Reflected in the score. Yeah. I feel like, this was the performance I wanted to see from Newcastle heading into finals. Just solid football. Because they haven't really done that on a consistent basis this year. It's good to see them actually put together a strong performance, led, of course, by the amazing Yasmin Clydesdale.
Well, a name like Clydesdale, she's got to be, big and strong. And
she is very, very tall and very, very strong. And continues to out 150 plus meters nearly every week.
Yeah.
She is excellent. Jessie Southwell.
We know she's good.
They've got some. Olivia Higgins is also great in the forwards. They've got a lot of good. The Knights. We know how good their squad is. We've seen their performance in recent years. It's all a matter of whether they can hit that next level.
I personally,
no.
I think they make the prelim.
When we talk into either the Roosters or Broncos can die.
They're on to Brisbane.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that when we talk about next week's games.
Yes.
Let's talk about the men. Oh, no, we'll talk about the Dragons first.
Tegan-Berry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Please play anywhere else.
13 runs for 182 meters.
There's no one else. There is no one else worth talking about in this team. Maybe Tori Shipton. She does all right. That's about it.
131, Madison.
Oh, a Mulhall. She's okay. She only had 57 minutes of prop. She did all right. There's just nothing.
But if you've only got forwards going forward and the backs aren't doing anything,
there's nothing you can do.
No, they've only got one back doing anything. And she can't make the team win every week.
This is exactly like Kalen Ponga at Newcastle. That's exactly what
very, very similar.
And
we have one more to talk about because we always leave the Cowboys game until last, which this week is a bad thing because they got absolutely poleaxed by Brisbane. Yeah. This was bad. This was really, really bad.
Here's my unpopular opinion. They knew they were going to get a home final.
Well, you think they just...
So they didn't try so hard so they don't get all damaged,
really,
for the home final. That's my hot take. I'm possibly wrong.
Okay, well, counterpoint then. Brisbane, I don't think, could lose second place. Mm-hmm. Then they just decide, you know what, we'll chuck a 50 burger.
Did they play before the Roosters? No, the Roosters played before them.
Yeah. They couldn't catch them anyway.
No, only one game behind.
Yeah, but I think their for and against would have to swing by more than this, which is impressive. But yeah, this was a story of the Cowboys not having Kyle Whitfield and Whitfield, and the centres having a complete disaster against these Broncos centres.
You have to be eating while we're doing this.
Of course he does. But yeah, Meta Halfunga and Julia Robinson. Halfunga was only on the field for like half an hour.
Halfunga somehow plays their best games against North Queensland. Every game.
Must be a David Fafita.
Oh, just crazy.
Yeah.
He's very, very good, very talented. But why don't you put in those performances against other teams?
Julia Robinson's return in the lead up to this game. She was, again, one of Brisbane's best. Scored a try, 260 metres, set up a try, 8 tackle breaks. She is just such a good player.
Yeah. Man.
They've got a lot of good.
Yeah. This is why this is the team that will be taking on the Roosters in the grand final.
Now.
Yep.
Bar
all of them getting injured.
Upton, Halfunga, Robinson, Brigginshaw, Shalom Salaso, who is, you talk about the best bench forwards in the comp, she has to be up there. Yeah. 49 minutes off the bench, 125 metres, 14 tackle breaks.
Still not quite that Warriors girl. Did a little
God,
bit of
those freaking close. She's really good. I'm happy I recognize she'd be really good. Also, Leonard Jutsi continues to be amazing off the bench as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just
Wouldn't surprise me. She's a trust me.
such a
Yeah.
good.
And look, they've been in it from the day dot, right? So it actually helps.
Yes.
So they've been able to build the squad and mold it to the way
We've
they
been
want.
there 3 years.
That's the thing with other teams that are a bit younger. They're going to get there at some point. They're just not there yet. Right? And that's what we can see. The Roosters and the Broncos have been there since the first time this competition came in.
Yeah.
Newcastle, they were there as well.
Top teams, right?
So you can actually see the top teams.
Yeah. It's
and then there's the gap.
hopefully the longer the NRLW is prevalent, the less defined these sorts of years get.
We'd have to hope that would happen. It's kind of happened a little bit in the men's comp.
Well, yeah, the way the NRLW is right now somewhat reminds me of where the NRL was in like the late 2010s/early 2020s, where every single year it's the top 6 and then the rest. Because you'd have years where like Newcastle would make the finals with a negative 100 point differential and an equal record.
Yeah.
And
or a losing record, because that also happened. Yeah.
There's only 4 or 5 good teams. There's not that anymore. That's where the NRLW is right now. There's 2 or 3 good teams, and the rest are kind of just making up the numbers. So hopefully that changes the longer this goes on.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, the Cowboys were bad.
They were bad in this game. There's not much they can talk about. Lillian Yarrow tried hard. She's been one of their best forwards week in, week out.
I feel like my big thing became, how I've been talking about it the past few weeks, the run shares.
Yeah.
It completely reverted back to it being the Chester and Wheel show. It's kind of frustrating to be honest. Like S.A. Banu coming off the bench, 33 minutes, 3 runs.
Yeah, I mean, yes, he ran an average of 16 metres on each of those runs, but yeah.
You need to be running more than that.
You do. That's not enough. Chester, she played well.
Chester always plays well.
Wheel was running at over 10 metres per run as well, which against the Brisbane Pack's not bad.
Yeah, especially because she's had games this year where she's held to like beat a lot less. So
the biggest run getter as normal was like fullback. Yeah, and fullbacks generally.
The defence was my big concern in this game. Missing 60 plus tackles, conceding 13 line breaks. Albeit it is Brisbane who are an attacking juggernaut. But
13 to 1 line breaks, that's embarrassing.
11 to 9 offloads, that wasn't that bad. We had 9 offloads.
Yeah, but
it didn't matter very much, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's just
regroup.
Whitfeld will be back for finals.
We look at the possession as well.
Yes.
It's a big, almost 20% difference in possession. So the Cowboys were always up against it. They didn't complete any worse than Brisbane did.
No, that is true.
So, but yeah, they just didn't have the capital to take on the Brisbane Pack. Apart from the Roosters.
So, that's the end of the women's regular season.
Yeah, on to finals for them next week.
One of the better seasons, I think, for the NRL.
It's pretty good because it's relatively close. There's not a lot of massive. Apart from the Tigers, perhaps, there's not really.
Because you've got the Roosters at the clear top of the table, and you've got the Tigers clear at the bottom, and there's just
a whole bunch in the middle,
which is a mess in the middle.
Similar.
So, I'm happy with the way the women's game is progressing.
Look, I'm pleased. I know the Cowboys went down from 3rd to 4th, but I'm pleased for their season this year. It's like,
they get
a massive improvement on last year, where I think they came 2nd last or something, or 3rd last. Much improved.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've been very, very happy with what I've seen from the Cowboys this year.
The NRL is becoming a bit more popular as well. People are starting to realise it's just like.
I'm not so sure. I think the popularity is a little bit skewed because a lot of the games are double headers and people are coming in for the men's game, but they just happen to be there when the women's game is actually playing. And so they cheer, as they would.
It does frustrate me because it is a great game to watch.
It is good. It's sometimes more fun to watch than the men. At least the women don't flop around like landed fish when anything happens. They just
half of them run harder than the men. I'm completely fine in saying that.
Especially some of the men.
And you have to remember that these are people who are playing football for not a livable wage.
This is their, they have actual jobs, yeah.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of how like the
QR.
yes, exactly. It's exactly how the Q Cup works, except it's an actual like NRL run.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, and like you had the argument they should get paid as much, but that'll happen when the crowds start coming in and start bringing in enough money. That's as simple as that. Because otherwise the NRL will go broke trying to prop them up. If they're going to pay them as much as the men, which they probably shouldn't because they're playing less minutes anyway. But if they did, the NRL will go broke because the men will be trying to prop that up and they're not getting enough to be able to prop themselves and the women's game up at the same time.
Yeah.
Sure, the men's NRL could just lend over a few bucks to the NRLW. That'd be nice.
And I imagine they probably already do.
That's probably why it's competition.
Yeah, which does make me quite mad, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well, yeah, we should.
People need to go out and watch these games.
We should be patronaging these games. I think that's a word. Being good patrons and showing up to the girls' games as well. Especially if you're, well, I mean, if your team's not, if you don't have a team in there, I suppose it's a bit trickier to do, but you know, you're generally going to go to support your team.
Different sport either.
No.
It's the same sport, just like a little less.
Slightly different. They don't have the six agains.
There's the lack of six agains, which some people would say is a good
I
thing.
think they have 10 interchanges, but as opposed to
what it used to be.
yeah,
And the 40-30, obviously.
yeah, which is fair because most, and that's just basic, you know, anatomy, men can kick first.
I like routinely struggle to understand why this game is nowhere near as popular because it's just as good.
I think over the years, women's sports have had negative press because over a lot of the years, it hasn't been as exciting. For example, you look at the soccer, the Matildas team got beaten 7-0 by an under-15s boys team or under-16s boys team. So, and that's the Matildas.
It doesn't mean anything. It's the exact same thing you said with
No, it doesn't mean anything, but you would think they would have tried a bit harder. You know, if they want to get their game a little bit more well known.
get myself hurt playing a bunch of 15-year-olds.
Yeah, but you just had an argument about me talking about that with the Cowboys maybe not wanting to get hurt in the game against Brisbane. So what's the, you know, there's no, you can't have both ways.
I'm not saying that's not what the Cowboys were doing. I'm saying that Brisbane had every right to do that and didn't.
They're a team that want to obviously head into the prelim on a roll, right?
Yes.
Whereas, you know, the Cowboys are still, you know, they're still got games up there. So Brisbane are always going to have a break too, remember, because they're in the top two. So they could go out harder as well.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, however, they don't have that week off to refresh and stuff. So
The NRL boys don't either, which I don't know how I feel about that.
they do if they win, I suppose.
I guess, yeah, you have to play week one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a bit harder there because they're top 8.
go watch the NRLW, please.
Please.
Yeah, look, give it a go. I mean, some of those games are good, but it's like the NRL. You're going to get some crappy ones.
Just go watch the Roosters. That will show you what the pinnacle of
Watch the Roosters play the Broncos in the grand final at least. That will be a
anyone who's
game.
going to the NRL grand final.
Get there early.
Amazing game.
Absolutely. 2 top tier teams going at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, last time they played, they were
Separated
by
only
goal
goal kicking, yeah.
You know, that was it. So that will be such a good game to watch.
Speaking of last time only being separated by goal kicking, the men starting with Storm Dogs, which was a very close game.
Closer than expected.
I
expected. I thought Melbourne would probably put them away on their home turf.
Well, this game was one misplaced pass away from being 2 points.
Yeah.
As opposed to 8. Thanks, Viliami, you doof. Which is unfortunate because aside from that moment, I thought Viliami kick out had a great game.
Yeah, he was good. Except that he got a broken face.
Oh, he played the rest of the game. He pulled the same bird.
Well, most of the rest of that Sam didn't even come off.
I had a broken ice.
No, they went later on. He didn't want to go. Just in case it said it was broken so he could play this week.
Yeah, exactly. Genius.
If you don't know, you don't know. Look, it was a good game. I thought I was really.
I think that the big thing for the Dogs is looking at this and saying, "Oh yeah, we need Toby Sexton in the team." Like
Look at the difference that
like
he's
we've
in the
been
team.
screaming for the past 8 weeks.
Toby Sexton on that team is still win much more comfortably.
Oh, if Toby Sexton's not on the team, Storm win by 30.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He
He was great.
and they're losing him, and that's the dumbest thing thanks to some of the line that we won't mention.
But there were a few late ins for this team. Like a lot of Sexton came in, Harry Hayes came in, Jacob Carraz came in late.
I thought Matt Burton had a really, really good
He
game.
was playing in the centres.
Yeah.
He was great.
He was excellent. He ran hard. He brought out his running game because he was in the centres.
It emphasises his running game, which he's very good at.
He's a big body, right? Big.
And it also lessens the prominence of his defensive issues because they have to go further out to attack that side.
Yeah.
So I feel like centre might even be his best position because he still kicked 600 meters.
No, he still is the main kicker.
So what's the problem?
Yeah.
What's the problem with him being in
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But it's up to the Dogs now, right? What are they going to do? They can't. Normally he'll be in the 6 role.
I don't not after how well they played here. I don't think they can do that. I think they have to roll with this lineup.
Yeah.
If Sexton is benched, I'm going to lose it.
But next year he's gone, so they're going to have to try something.
Well, you can focus on that in the preseason.
Yeah.
You can win now, though.
Yeah.
So I don't
And
know.
they're playing in Penrith.
Yeah,
So they need to try and win now.
They need another game like Connor Tracy had in this game. I thought he was quite good.
Yeah.
I do like Connor Tracy.
He runs hard all the time, right? He runs like somebody's chasing him with a gun.
It'll be great for Vegas next year.
Yeah, that's probably true. They will be.
I had to worry about it. Very good. But yeah, kick out was great. Jacob Preston continues to be one of my favourite second rowers. I think he's awesome. It's just the Dogs were a little bit ill-disciplined at the wrong times in this game, and that's the problem.
And Melbourne are able to take advantage of those sorts of things generally.
Yes.
When you slip up, they go, "Thank you." Yeah,
They broke 60 tackles.
yeah, no, it was a bad defensive effort.
To be fair, it was 20 points bar a really bad pass. That was it. So
To you,
What's that about?
I was buying you stuff for tomorrow and all that. Anyway, back to this.
Melbourne. I'm happy Will Warbrick is back.
How good was it? 300 metres basically run.
To be fair,
One of those was 90, I realised. All by itself.
he is a very, very strong ball runner.
He had a few. He's still a little bit with the handle. He's still got a bit of the buttery fingers at times. Reminds me a bit of Dylan Edwards, who's having a bit of the buttery fingers at times as well.
I think my favourite player to watch in this game was Stefano Utoikamanu. He had a blinder.
He was
so good.
The best forward on the park.
54 minutes, 152 metres, 14 tackle breaks, 4 offloads, 34 tackles with no misses. Just an absolutely stellar.
It's taken him a while, but he is absolutely smashing it now.
Into it now.
Watch out other teams, because I think Melbourne are starting to get warm.
Dad said that Stefano was shampoo above everyone else.
Head and shoulders, yes.
That was terrible.
That was pretty awful. When you said my bad jokes are bad.
That was actually good.
And outside that, it was just the usual suspects. Cameron Munsters, the Ali Katoa was great. Jody Pezzett is really, really starting to perform well.
With
Tyron Wishart's just Tyron Wishart.
Tom scores a try, why not?
That's his stock standard. Jeff Howarth was pretty good.
Howarth absolutely blitzed it. He ran hard. Every time he looked like he was bending the defensive line as he ran into it and stuff, he was very, very good.
I'm surprised that Grant Anderson can still walk. I don't know how.
That knee must be being held together by duct tape or something.
So 5 separate knee injuries this year. I don't think he's missed a game.
Pretty cool.
I thought Joe Chan was pretty good. I think he's pretty good.
Joe Chan's okay. He's obviously out of position.
He's not a centre. But yeah.
Well, I think in this game he was playing in the second row because Howarth was the lazy.
Yeah. Joey Chan. Didn't run very much, so we should take his time to run a bit more.
But I do think they need Sean Bloor back.
Yeah.
I think he adds a bit of a power running game. He
Yeah.
could be a great foil to
Katoa,
Oh, he could also be a great foil to what Uto Kamado is.
yeah, because he's another
Move up the edge.
because he's actually a big body as well, right?
Yeah.
Not small.
So, Melbourne get a week off. The Bulldogs have to play week 2. They have to play Penrith.
That's not much fun, but anyway.
How Matt Burton is allowed to play next week, I will have no idea, because that was pretty clearly a hip drop in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. It was almost an exaggerated hip drop if you want to go that way. It was like up like this, and his bum was like,
It's a really, really bad one, and I'm surprised it wasn't pulled up.
And the other one, you could probably that hit Munster. That was a harder one because he tripped over his own foot. Yeah.
He got knocked over by his own.
He didn't even get
We'll get,
a fine or anything for that.
I don't think so.
we'll get the player that should have been sent off.
Yeah, that was,
No, we'll talk about that one later.
but yeah, the Dogs, I think this game says more about them, because it says, hey, we are still a competitive
Yes,
football.
absolutely, because they put it to the team that came second and has been probably the most consistent team over the last 20 years. So
You know what? Maybe they have a chance next week.
I hope they do.
I hope so. It would be good to see.
So Penrith.
Yes.
Speaking of Penrith,
Yeah,
beat the Warriors to absolutely nobody's surprise.
yeah, no, unfortunately, it wasn't too much of a surprise.
Warriors, they were just bad. That second half was really, really.
Yeah, well, look, I know that one thing doesn't make a team win, but momentum is a very big thing in a game of rugby league.
This is true.
At the time that Penrith scored that try off the forward pass, it was 8-6.
Yes. And that was definitely football.
It was definitely a forward
Terrible.
And
Really, really cool.
I remember talking last week about I'm betting there's going to be in the finals something decided by a poor refereeing decision. Now, while this may not have decided the game, it changed momentum back in Penrith's favour.
I do agree with that. I think
this is the big thing. And the Warriors fought on gallantly. I'll say that. They tried hard.
Yeah.
They're lacking polish because they're lacking a good halfback since they lost their really good halfback.
He
He
hasn't been great.
He's been average without being anything amazing, and they needed something amazing.
Did they not also lose somebody to injury? No.
No, I don't think so.
I thought Pompey got hurt. Maybe that was a different week.
Probably a different week.
But no, yeah, it's just.
They tried hard. Charles tried hard.
It's a sad end of the season for what promised to be like one of the best Warriors teams we've seen.
I reckon, and look, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am in this case. If they don't lose their halfback halfway through or with about 12 weeks to go or whatever it was, they make the top 4. They were in the top 4 up until the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks anyway. And that's without him. Right? Metcalf makes a major difference if he's there.
Yeah.
I
do feel bad for them.
Yeah, they tried hard. I don't think they're going to lose any fans. It's just
I don't think so.
The Warriors are going to have fans.
It's one of those ones when you can definitively point to one big injury that's derailed them.
Yeah.
So I don't think, look, if they can avoid what happened last year, post 2023, if they can be this team again next year, they're going to be really.
With some luck in injuries and that sort of thing, they will probably do the same thing they were and make it again.
Look, this season feels a little bit disappointing because how it started, but you think of it, this team finished where last year? Terrible.
Yeah, somewhere down the bottom.
They made finals.
Yeah.
With a major injury to a halfback.
You
think about it that way, I think this season's a pretty good one.
Yes. And Webster's done wonders to keep their morale up and their.
And I think the emergence of these really good young forwards has done a lot for them. Laban, Vaimanga, and Hallerson are all great stars for the team in the future.
That's it. And they've got a good basis to build around these young guys, these young firebrands who bring a heck of a lot to this team.
Absolutely.
And they're fun to watch.
They're really fun to watch.
The Warriors are always fun to watch.
I still think Dimitri Vaimanga is one of my favourite players.
He's very, very good.
So good.
His ball play is phenomenal. I guess
you like him because he has like the bigger propensity for like splash play.
I like both. It's kind of like the the Jeremiah Nene and Fuiaki difference, whereas Jeremiah, when he's on, he's almost unstoppable, which is like Halasima.
Yes.
And then you've got Finakuyaki, who's very, very solid all the time, like by Malcolm. So, yeah.
I would say that's probably one of the best seasons Roosters have asked. It was awesome.
Excellent. Aaron Clark things. He tried hard. They didn't have him on long enough, in my opinion. But anyway.
We turned it 80 minutes last week.
Yeah.
They limited into less than 40.
Yeah, they probably needed him on there a bit longer, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it did feel like in that middle period of the game, they just kind of got smashed through the middle of the field.
I think he would have filled that area up a little bit.
Absolutely. Hold on, what was the... Yeah, 45 missed tackles for the Warriors.
31 from Penrith, they're probably not that happy about that either, so...
You know, they win.
They did, and they're into the second week of finals, but we still know it's very hard to win from outside the top four. It's a hard run.
I don't think they get much further unless Dylan Edwards can fix whatever the hell is going on with him. He's having a really poor period of football.
What is he making? I mean, he's dropping the ball.
He only made 2 in this game, but like they're really crucial errors.
Yeah, wrong time. Yeah,
that's the thing. But like outside that, Nathan Cleary did his usual thing.
Yeah,
Isaiah Yeo is still awesome. I really like Lindsay Smith. He's a really good forward.
We actually have to say the where the tide turned a bit was when they were Isaiah Papali'i on the.
It's been really good.
He absolutely turned the momentum in Penrith's favour.
Yeah, well, he
scored their first.
Yes, he scored their first try.
Even though it was 2-0.
Yes, very exciting. Yes, I think.
Kid scream.
Fantastic. But yeah, Isaiah Papali'i ended up leading the Penrith forward pack by quite a bit, actually. I think 50 metres over Isaiah Yeo.
Yeah, he's another one, a bit like Uto Ikamanu. They've found their feet now, and they're absolutely killing it. Yes.
I still would prefer them have Tom Jenkins on the wing over Paul Allen.
Yes, me too. What would you say?
Also, like how Brent had probably one of the funniest NRL moments after the game. So, Fox were interviewing him. He said to them that the cameraman behind the camera was telling him to look straight, and then Cooper Cronk said you can look anywhere, and then he just turned to the side.
That's very Brian Todd, I think.
It is. And the other thing that he's unfortunately had some negative press during the week by calling a lot of some of his teammates' wives and girlfriends certain unpleasant sexual type of names on socials, which is probably a bit dumb. I know it wasn't malicious, it wasn't, but it's dumb.
It's not great optics.
No. So don't do that, Brian. You're a good enough footballer without these sorts of things. It's very funny. So don't do stupid things.
Did what they had to do. They won. They did.
I think that'll be a fun game, that one. I think that because it's going to be Penrith versus Penrith Light.
Kind of. Yeah.
Penrith versus ex-Penrith. There's a number of them.
I hoped that this game was better than it was. I'm very, very sad that Cronulla won.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
I would have so much preferred to have like Marky Mark playing more finals football, but instead we're left with Cronulla. Yeah. Yay. But the Roosters were bad. Unfortunately, they were just really poor.
Well, their handling errors killed them. Also, I'll say it again, another howler of a decision that was made.
It was clearly a knock-on.
Which ended up in a try for Cronulla.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. We cannot have, and because it was the play before, they couldn't go back and have a look at it.
Teams need to start, if they think a call is wrong, just lie on the guy. Yeah. Lie on the guy you tackled, give away a penalty, then get on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one's done that yet. I'm surprised Melbourne hasn't done that yet.
I'm sure I've seen it once or twice, but they don't do it very but actually Melbourne, I think, did do it once. And then they didn't, but the referee was alert to it and they didn't actually, like you could see that they were just lying on the player and it just doesn't get up, and then they didn't.
See, that's just all dumb, though.
Because stupid. Jesse Ramian definitely knocked it on.
Absolutely.
He played at the ball. He wasn't trying to tackle anybody.
Tackling motion. He was like full punching.
Yeah, knocked the ball out forwards. That led to a try. Once again, momentum being a big thing in a game of football. That gave the momentum to the shot because at that time I think it was pedal.
Yes.
So
I don't think anyone in Cronulla was particularly good.
No,
in my
It
opinion.
was a pretty poor game. It was, of the round, I thought this was the worst game.
This would have been a much better game.
Yeah, it was.
It makes me sad.
It's one of the worst games of the round. Even worse than the Penrith Warriors one.
Toby Rudolph scoring the most unnecessary try ever.
Shows that he's got that ability. I mean, I remember you had to go at Tamalolo when he scored that try against him when he fell off. He just bumped 4 people off on the way to scoring against the Roosters.
Okay, so this is a big gripe that I have. This
2 of them being forwards.
Well, the guy who made first contact with him was James Tedesco.
Yeah.
Why this new defensive mindset the teams have that we need the fullback defending in the line? Or you're putting up a big neon sign saying "Run in here." That's all you're doing by having the fullback up in the line, especially in a team like the Roosters, where James Tedesco isn't the most defensively sound.
No, he's not.
We've seen that before.
I don't know why the teams do that.
When you have someone like maybe like a Connor Tracy or a Dylan Edwards or someone who can actually do good, or like a Latrell Mitchell even, who's a big body and can defend well, that's fine. But the Cowboys do it with Scott Drinkwater, who is a terrible defender. The Broncos do it with Reece Walsh, who has his moments but isn't a good defender.
He's not a good defender, that's true.
The Raiders do it with KO Weeks. I don't get that. He should be patrolling because he's super duper fast. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
If someone needs to enlighten me as to why this is a good idea, because all I've seen, like I listened to the Bloke and Bar podcast, Denton Kemp, former NRL player, also has no idea why teams do this.
Yeah. I think it's quite funny to listen to.
I don't know. I think it's a bad idea, and it is exemplified by the Toby Rudolph try, in my opinion.
And look, it was a game of football.
It was a game of football. Marky Mark was really good.
As normal.
I'm
very
gonna
scary.
miss watching him. He was great.
20 runs for 216 meters.
Scored a try. Line breaks 14, tackle breaks. That's a fun number this week.
14 seems to be the big one, eh?
Yeah, he was great. I'm going to miss a lot of these Roosters players. A lot of them. Like, I would love to have seen Nafahu White go up against a lot of these forwards. I'd love to see Angus Crichton, Jaw, and Hudson Young or something like that.
Well, at that time, we didn't know who they were going to be playing, obviously, but yeah.
But it'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
It'd be so much fun. I'm going to miss Hugo Savala. He's great.
Yeah.
I hope they keep him.
Well, Roosters, considering where you were for a lot of that season.
This season's a success.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a rebuilding year.
And they still made finals. Yeah.
They're only going to get better
Yep.
unless they sign Daly Cherry Evans. Then they're going to get worse. So please don't do that. Let him go sign with the Tigers or something. I would love it to be the Titans because it would be a perfect full circle moment.
I don't think the Titans would trust him one little bit, just to be fair.
He's a halfback. The Raiders.
Yeah. Just a swap, right?
No, they have Ethan Sanders. They haven't signed anybody yet. Newcastle got Sandon Smith already. So maybe go to the Raiders. To be fair, I feel like Daly Cherry Evans and Jamal Fogarty are somewhat similar.
Jake Clifford.
Yeah, but
We don't need him. We are not signing Daly Cherry Evans.
no, we don't. Let's keep that, and let's keep Tommy in the halves, and I'm sure as they build through those people everywhere. And we'll talk about that another week.
I'm going to miss the Roosters. I hate the Sharks.
Yeah, Sharks are bad. Bug off, Sharks.
Okay, we're going to move on to what I'm officially calling the game of the year. What in the actual hell? The Raiders and the Broncos put on some game of football that happened. I still don't know. I don't think I've fully processed whatever this game was. It's a Wednesday and I still don't know.
Why fresh so bad?
Here we go.
Look,
It was a knockoff from Jed Stewart and Tom Starling should have been sin bin.
I'm not even concerned about that. Look, that really doesn't matter at this point.
Running through the leg.
That's the correct place.
Done.
At least you know the system, but it makes for these people who are throwing themselves around like they've been shot.
It's consistently done.
I think it's a fair rule.
It's
I
done.
don't think they've over-policed it.
I think it's a fair rule if it puts the person in danger. Reece Walsh was not in any iota of danger in that at all.
Yeah, but see, now we're getting into this argument that no active method to stop these sorts of things happening.
That's BS, and you know that.
If you are judging how severe a penalty is based on the result, that is reactive.
Well, okay, here's the deal. A couple of years ago, Scott Drinkwater on the Broncos do. Corey Oates broke his jaw.
Yes.
If he doesn't break his jaw, he doesn't get 5 weeks.
I don't think so.
So that's based on severity. They do it anyway.
I don't think the injury had anything. He jumped and hit him in the cheek with his shoulder. That is a completely careless action. I think it would have been 5 weeks regardless.
No, I don't think so. I don't think if he doesn't break his jaw, it's less. The severity always factors in. Always factors in.
I don't think it should.
Well, it does. Whether you think it should or not. That's why I think with this one. Okay. Another one, and I'm bringing Scott Drinkwater in again. It happened to the Cowboys a couple of years ago. He got run through and got hit by, I don't know, it was a Melbourne Storm player, I think. Or was it Sean Johnson? It might have been a Warrior. Anyway, somebody ran through, hit his leg, but he didn't fall around like a felled fish.
Yes, but see, now we're getting to the issue that the penalty is not the issue, it's the flopping that's the issue. And the NRL is now consistently rewarding players that do that. That is not an officiating problem.
And once again, I'm less worried about that, more worried about what happened with the Hudson Young Reece Walsh thing earlier on.
This is a fair complaint,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I have no idea.
If you're going to sin bin players for sledging, you're going to have 2 people playing against each other.
The Cowboys going to be playing with 12 people for every game of next year.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. You cannot put somebody in the bin for being an asshole. That's not how it works.
I haven't seen any justification by the NRL as to why they did that. I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah, on Fox Sports Facebook page said that NRL had come out and said they got it wrong. That it should have been a penalty to Canberra, and Hudson Young should not have been sent for 10.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh definitely, if not off. It's a headbutt. However, I will caveat that with there's been a couple of instances this year that they haven't even sent players for 10. Smithies, though there was one from Victor Radley who got 3 weeks because he had loading. I know he had loading.
And also, it's Victor Radley. He gets unfairly policed when he just do it
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Certain players.
That's never been done for.
No, he's never been done for headbutting. But can you imagine if Hudson Young had headbutted Reece Walsh?
Yeah.
What do you think happens? Not this. That.
Reece Walsh is a protection of the NRL.
And he gets weeks on the sideline. At least one. Reece should get at least one for the Liverpool kiss. I'm sorry.
I do agree with that. I do think he should be facing a week's suspension.
Yeah.
Him only getting fined is nuts to me.
He has a propensity with that, though. And who knows what Hudson said, but it actually doesn't, unless he was being racial or something, which I doubt. I don't think he would. There's no reason to react like Reece Walsh did.
Absolutely not.
He obviously was apparently, according to Ben Hunt, they were all at him the whole game to try and put him off his game. Hudson just happened to be the one who got right close to him and mouthed off, and he just reacted like that. Ashley Klein lost that moment. He did the wrong thing.
I agree.
And would that have an outcome on the game?
I think it probably does.
It probably does because then Broncos have the chance of being down to 11 men or 13.
Yeah, here's the thing. If we're going to go, like, they got the decision wrong, they've admitted that. What do we think is the right call? Is it if you keep Hudson Young sin bin, do you send Reece? Or do you just put Reece for 10 and keep Hudson Young on the field?
Yeah, see, that is the question.
I do think that those two lead to two different things. I think if Hudson Young stays on and Reece gets only binned, Brisbane probably win this game.
They could possibly still win, but here's the deal. 2 minutes later, Pat Carrigan decides to take Morgan Smithy's head off with his shoulder, then pretends he hit him with his face, which was obviously not a thing.
I guess things are out for blood.
It reminds me of John Arrow. That's what that reminds me of.
But
I guess he thinks they're so blood.
I didn't forget that they actually have slow motion replays and stuff. Anyway, then at that point it would have been 13-11, and I think the Raiders get a few more tries in there, right?
I think that's probably fair.
So, because Hudson Young was probably one of the Canberra Raiders' best players, apart from that 10-minute in the bin, he scores a try, sets one up with a Beautiful grubber kick into the in-goal area.
He was excellent. I think he led the team inside 10 weeks.
Well, yeah, well, obviously he is. So, Hale was excellent, by the way, scored 2 tries.
He had flashy games.
He was really good.
He was great.
And look, I was saying Reece Walsh played well. Look, he kicked 2 40-20s in the game, right? That doesn't happen very often. And he managed to, like, when they had 12 on 13 or whatever, when Cameron was, he managed to score a try, right? Not saying he's a bad player, but there should have been something different happen in that situation. I'm sorry. Whatever happened in that situation was wrong. And I think Buzz Rothfield said on NRL 360 that they gave him a pass mark that game, Ashley Klein. No.
If anything, I think this was the game that had the most controversial calls in it.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And look, I can live with the knock-on call, even though I still think it went backwards. That's just or down at worst. It's not because
whether it was or not, that the entire season has been called a knock-on, so it is at least consistent.
But
No, I don't think they did. But what I think is that he's had his hand like this, and it's hit here, and I think it's come down at worst. I don't think it's gone that way because Karapani's hands were under like this, and that's when it got knocked forward. So it didn't come down and hit him in the chest or anything. It hit his hands and went towards the Canberra Raiders. So that would have been such a good way to end the game too, by the way. It would have been the funniest way because Canberra have done that once already, right? And while all the Broncos fans will be all going, oh, it's great, wonderful, blah, 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 Reece Walsh is God or whatever, I've seen enough of that online. It's like ridiculous how much they blow smoke up his butt. No, but look, he's a good player. He's not bigger than the game of rugby league, and he should not be treated as bigger than the game of rugby league, which is what happened on the weekend. That's my take. He got let off very lightly.
I agree with that.
So it's like
I think he could be missing a week.
yeah, which would then make this week coming very hard for them.
Especially because he had a second charge in the set as well. I feel like
Yeah.
you should be able to marry those two.
Yeah. Together, it shouldn't just be, here's $3,800 fine or whatever. That's it. 4,800. Yeah. You know, and I've heard that the crowd were saying some things about his daughter, and that's off limits. We should not be saying that anyway. However, some people have had that before and not reacted like that. But you shouldn't have. I know that, not the crowd anyway. I know that I think Joe Savannah flipped off one of the other players.
he flipped off Roger.
Two of us checked last week or whatever it was. Week before, sorry, in the game. That's not the same. That's on the field. Whatever stays on the field, stays on the field.
Exactly.
Don't do it to the crowd. I know they're probably mouthing off at you and throwing you the bird, but you reacted on the field, and that's why you're off. Now you're reacting off the field as well. You're not making yourself look good, Reece. You know, and you don't have to do that because you are a talented football player. We know this. He's a very good football player. He just has these moments where he's a bonehead.
Yes, I agree.
And he's getting old enough to get out of that by now. The guy's 23 or whatever he is. He's not 18 or 19 anymore.
What is he actually? I need to check this out.
He's 23, is what I said. He's old enough to know better than that now. He's been playing in the top league for 4 years.
Yeah.
He should know better than that by now. I'm sorry. And he's a dad. This is not a good look for your daughter to see you headbutting somebody. Other than that, yeah, you're probably a great father, but when you're on the field, you still need to show some, restraint because people are still watching you. Whether you like it or not, football is a role model to a lot of people. It's bad. Role models should be parents and things like that, right? But a lot of people look up to these sorts of people.
I will defend that and say that is not the football player's fault.
No, I'm not saying it is, but you still have a bit of a responsibility to show a little bit of self-restraint at times.
Yeah, asking them to take responsibility for the actions of others.
No, for their actions. You can't control the actions of others. But he's going out headbutting people because he gets called a name or has somebody laugh in his face or whatever it is, then that's really poor. If I did that in the street, I'd be up for assault.
This is true.
Talking to somebody, it'd be aggravated assault.
Right? if you were in the street and tackled somebody, that would also be assault.
Yeah. But once again, headbutting has always been illegal in the game of rugby league. So,
Although,
no, it's been illegal.
I feel like Napa had a career.
No. He just led with his head when he was running the football.
And he was defending.
But when he never did like that or flung his head.
He always tackled like this.
He was a bit weird with his style. But I'm just saying, Reece has a lot of followers. He's got a lot of people who watch his playing, and fair enough, he's a good footballer. He's a very, very good footballer. I actually think he has a propensity to be one of the best that we've seen in rugby league, especially in the more modern times, right? But he's got to get some of this nonsense out of his game.
Do you think that he doesn't get enough pushback on that within the Broncos?
Possibly. I don't know.
I think
I would have thought
that's
Madge would probably be a person who could do that.
Well, essentially, because when he rocked up at Brisbane, it was in a pretty rough place, to be fair. So they were just like, "Hey, mate, do whatever you want. We just need you to do something," and it worked for them. So they've just let him keep doing that, and unfortunately, that includes his propensity to be a bit of a knucklehead at points in time. So, look, I don't know what the correct solution is for Brisbane.
I think the issue with Brisbane is, I don't want to sound like a whinger from up north, but I think certain teams get more rub of the green than others.
Yeah. The teams that rake in the most money. The NRL can be money on
Brisbane do bring in the most money.
Kids.
Brisbane do bring in the most money because they have the highest average crowd, all that sort of stuff. This is true. Right? They have the most members of any club.
Why are Souths always perpetually terrible? Don't they have like the third biggest supporter base?
How many show up to their games? They're playing in like Accor Stadium or whatever it is. Allianz.
The Warriors too, like consistently fill out their home games every single week.
Yeah, I know, but we know that the Warriors
don't get the rub of the green.
Yeah,
despite the fact that they are probably one of the more profitable NRL franchises.
One of the more liked one by people, just not by referees, I don't think.
But the Cowboys have a big supporter base as well.
Yeah, but they're also targeted by referees.
Yeah, so I don't think that there's a correlation to that at all.
But once again, here's the average crowd in town, 18,000.
Yes.
Average crowd in Brisbane, 35,000.
Well, yeah, because that's all the. Because their stadium is double the capacity.
Yeah. But our stadium can fit 25. We never pack it out unless it's against Brisbane or Melbourne.
We are also a very bad team, so less people will want to show up. I imagine in the year where Brisbane won the Wooden Spoon, they weren't drawing 35,000.
I reckon they were still drawing the most.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just saying, I think certain teams do get a little preferential treatment when it comes to certain things, certain decision making, all that sort of stuff. The Cowboys, when they go to judiciary, they don't even bother fighting half the time anymore because they know they're going to get crapped on. Because there's the judiciary is New South Wales based, but it's also Brisbane. To be fair, Brisbane probably don't get great at the actual judiciary, but they get less people sent to the judiciary for whatever reason. And I'm not sure they're the perfect football team because they certainly are not.
That's fair.
So look, this rant is now over, but I just think that Brisbane were very lucky to get away with this game because there are a lot of things that had gone correctly according to the NRL. I think Canberra win more comfortably.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, it could have come down to what's his face kicking the goal. Yeah, but Reece Walsh missed 2. So that shouldn't have actually been a thing in the end. It probably ended up.
I think if anything, Brisbane should have won anyway because Reece Walsh could kick, they would have been trying to play it.
Well, they would have been. So you cannot blame Fogarty on this on Fogarty. Because overall, I thought he had a relatively good game. In fact, he almost scored the winning try. He didn't score it. It just was like not taken off. It was taken off him, unfortunately. Yeah. So look, I think Canberra have a lot to offer this competition. I think they're going to Cronulla. They're going to be licking their wounds a little bit. But if I know Ricky, his style and stuff, he'll have them ready to go.
That'll be raring.
And it's not going to be at Cronulla. It'll still be at GIO Stadium. So it's still going to be a hostile crowd. for Cronulla. A little bit different when you play at home than away.
This was a great game of football, and it's the discourse around this game has devolved into nothing that actually really happened on the field.
Yeah. It's just like
Talk about Payne Haas, man, he was awesome.
he's always awesome. It gets boring.
He injured his ankle like 3 times and churned out 74 minutes, 170 meters,
That's what I'm saying. I think he's a cyborg.
possibly. AI's first foray into rugby league.
He's a big sideboard.
But like there were so many good players in this game. There were so many good moments in this game. Like that, the second KO extra sprinting down the field. What a moment!
I'll give Karapani a few merits there. He was gaining for a little while, but then he slowed down and weeks kept going.
16 meters.
He was awesome. Shibasaki was great. Tony Staggs was great. There's so much good here.
Yeah, but no one likes the Tony Staggs.
He's just
He's
just a grumpy pants.
Love of every single person in the Broncos
But
fan base.
look, it's in the books now. Brisbane move on. They get a week off, and they'll need it after this. Canberra move on to Cronulla.
Canberra.
They could be. This is the longer this game went on, the worse it got for whoever lost.
Yeah, well, just like that with most. I remember when in
16,
2016,
yeah.
the boys took on Brisbane and it went for 90 minutes.
And Anthony Wilson
Right.
got the field
It's
goal.
great to see.
No, it was the first game they played in the season. This is the one they beat them when Thurston passed to
They
Melbourne
didn't even try.
in extra time. You were very confused.
Ben Hunt kicking that field goal was awesome.
He was funny. I was listening to him talk about it. He said, I thought I maybe put my arms up too early because it started fading away.
Lost jumped on his back before it had even gone. Please? Yeah.
So he wasn't sure. I wasn't moving away. He was like, no.
It hit the post and it went over the crossbar, I reckon, that much.
And he put it like about probably about 10 centimeters to the right, and it hits dead on the upright and comes back.
Yeah.
And who knows? We don't
Know
know
what happens after
that
that.
happened last time that happened to Canberra. So it's like, but yeah, look, Brisbane move on. Canberra live to fight another day anyway because and it's at their home, so I think they will.
I call it.
But the problem is, I wanted to be a Melbourne Canberra grand final, but if it goes away, I'm hoping it goes. It's going to be a Melbourne Canberra preliminary final instead. That's Anyway,
NRLW, they hit their first week of finals. 3v6, 4v5. The 4v5, the Cowboys play Cronulla. It is at Queensland Country Bank Stadium.
they beat Cronulla in their only other meeting at Cronulla. So, but it's going to be a good game anyway. But I think the Cowboys can win this.
I hope so. Couple of big ins.
Yeah.
Is the fullback this week. I like it. I like her being.
Wall is an excellent fullback, but she's a better winger. So get her out there.
Is the 7. They've replaced Rosie Kelly again.
I actually think that Dib and Tillett were getting a decent little combo happening.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Francesca Goldthorpe, Fran, easy to say.
Francesca.
She is excellent.
One player of the year?
Yeah.
Yep. Winchester won the Cowboys
Player of the year. And obviously Arnold Lupo won.
She's played 2 games.
They dropped Double Dash, which means they're going to lose. That was spite.
I don't think they will lose.
You twits, why have you dropped her? Ralph Strand Smith is not good. Why? Yeah, I don't know.
Look, I think they've got a big forward. Right.
They do.
I
I remember I was concerned about her when they played in round 4?
3.
3.
Like,
It was the week after, yeah. I was concerned about her. The other big in for Cronulla, Georgia Radix is back, so that's huge for them. She's a great player on the way. Yeah.
So whatever her name is out there.
Toit. No, I'm thinking of DeGoy.
Yes, Isaac DeGoy. He was a player. Ellie Humphrey, I think, is going to be the danger forward. Obviously, she's just massive and a very good player.
And for the back, obviously, it's Tiana Penatani Gray. We know how strong she is. She's a phenomenal footballer.
For the North Queensland team, Emma Mandelman will be massive as normal.
That matchup with Georgia Hanaway is one of the best we've seen. That's such a good.
Video. Probably will.
She's a very good player, right?
We'll talk about that next week.
Has got the biggest boot in the women's
They're
competition.
going to need to utilize it this week because they're going to need to.
I actually think Cronulla will. They've got bigger forwards, so I think Cronulla will win the meter battle. But I think the Cowboys have a little bit more in attack.
I think the Cowboys need to attack. I would say try and attack through the second row, but the second row pairing of Harden and Palata doesn't necessarily strike much confidence in that idea. Maybe it's the position outside. Maybe you could try and go through the centres and see if you can get Jasmine Peters and
They're both very good players.
Tiana Penatani Gray, really?
Well, there's the other centre as well, Rachel Weeks, who is not as good.
No.
So maybe Roche.
Roach is a very good player, and a very good defender.
And hopefully the attack can look a lot better with Phil back, fullback.
And
Into the back end. I think the Cowboys have a real shot at winning this game.
I think they do. And look, if they don't,
It's still a successful.
it's a successful season, right? I would like to think they've got one more game in them. Yes, I think they'll come up against the Roosters and it's not going to be pleasant, but if they could get to the prelim, that would be amazing for them. Right? So, good luck to the Cowboys. We really,
I think I'm a 26-16 victory.
I think they can do it. I actually think that because it's at home to start with,
Great.
and they were able to win away from home.
Referee, Casey Badger. Whoa. I'm so happy.
As an on-field referee, she is fine.
He was terrible in the box.
Yes, I agree with that. It's kind of like she's kind of like what's his face?
Chris Butler.
Yes, what's his name?
And
Atkins as well is kind of like that.
I do prefer the other female referee.
Belinda Sharp.
Yeah,
She is quite
she's
good.
a very good on-field referee too, because she doesn't take any crap. She's very, very good at that.
The Cowboys is, and in terms of finals experience, there is not much here. So
They've
hopefully,
never made finals.
Exactly.
So it's a little tricky.
Actually, I have 4 years of finals experience.
Oh, yeah, she came from another team, but
yeah, same with Whitfeld, I think, as well.
I think she came from somewhere else to start with as well. So
Hopefully, they can find some.
Yeah, I
Go
think-
Cowboys! We can keep saying that in the year 2025.
yes,
Woohoo!
at least one more week.
The other men.
No, we don't.
Let's link to. I suppose we can talk. About
Okay, was it the North?
Play the Titans. This game could be anything.
Newcastle probably going to win.
I think they probably will, but this could be a very, very high scoring
Could be
game.
an exciting game to watch.
I'm very interested to see how Newcastle build on their performance against the Dragons last week, because that was, in my opinion, one of their best games.
Yeah, look, I think Newcastle just have a little bit too much class in their side. Titans have got what's happened?
There's a little bit of reshuffling for Newcastle. They've got a couple of people out with head knocks. Bovet Walsh is back at fullback, which is big for them. But they've lost Lillian White. Lillian White is the reserve because Bo's back. Ciala and Kapani are out with head knocks. So there's a little bit of shuffling in the forwards and the backs for Newcastle. So they've got Simpson starting on the wing. Davison starts at prop. Taylor Predabon is also named in the front row, despite the fact that she has a bit of an injury concern as well. So there's a little bit of a cloud around. So Chapman, I think, is still hurt. She's not even named in the reserves. I don't think she's going to be back, which is
I
unfortunate.
think that's going to be a problem.
But they get Georgia Gray back, which is big for them. She's a very, very good centre.
Look, I hope Titans can put up a bit of a fight, but I still think the Knights will just have a little bit too much class in the end. I'm looking, maybe 30-22.
Go the Titans. I don't think they'll win, but go Titans.
It's going to be nice because we don't like Newcastle very much.
I want the Titans to win.
Could have 3 Queensland teams in the top 4 at that point.
Yes.
2 teams.
Now the men. On Saturday, the Sharks come up against the Raiders at GIO Stadium.
Yeah.
Both teams, I think, are unchanged.
Yep, they're unchanged.
Which is good.
Yep.
We love the continuity. I think the Raiders can probably win this. I think the Raiders win. I hope they win anyway.
We don't like.
I think it's a mixed record between these two in the past few. I know that at least the past two they've played. One was a big Cronulla victory. One was a small Raiders win, which was earlier this
Yeah,
year.
you've got to remember that last year the Raiders were pretty ordinary.
Finished 10th or
Yeah,
something.
and weren't as good as this year's, that's for sure.
This is true. But the Canberra of this season are very good. In the NRL era, they are 26 and 26. It is a tie between these two.
That's pretty cool.
Where are the Raiders going to win this game?
They're going to win it the fullback.
I think they'll win it through the second row. I think that Hudson Young could be in for a huge game, especially if he's marked up against Teague Wilton. He's a lot more mobile. You could be looking for a few really good line runs for him. I think he could get two.
Look, Zach Hosking is underrated. He's
such a defensive stalwart.
He's a good footballer. And that's the other thing about the previous game. He was a knock-on away from actually getting the Raiders over 30 points.
And to be fair, the Raiders were one him brain snap away from actually winning that game.
Yeah.
He ran into Reece Walsh. So
I don't think he actually tried to run into it.
I don't think he did.
Because Reece Walsh's kick, he brings his leg way across like this.
Maybe for Canberra, it's trying to target some of these forwards because they are a bit under strength. They don't have Cam McInnes. They've got Jesse Colquhoun in. Maybe Corey Horsburgh could have some fun there. I think that Canberra will get one up here.
I think they will. I think Canberra will go on to face Melbourne in week 3.
Tell you what, that hooker battle is going to be so.
That'll be a good battle. Starling Brayley. That's a good battle. I didn't realise Brayley was the captain.
Be two of the 3 nominees for Hooker of the Year, I reckon. It'll be those two and Harry Grant, hopefully.
And I think Joe Carpenter is going to have a blinder.
He's going to be running it out to Blake.
That's
a great match.
So good. It's different. See, Adam Fanua, he's got good footwork for a big guy. Tarpany's got the ball skill, right? So that's the difference. I do think that Canberra do match up fairly positively against the Sharks.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be sitting like Twitch. I reckon
Yeah, probably. That's what happened last week. So
Probably he's going to bring it around Toby Rudolph.
They should also probably start Britt Nickera over Billy Burns. I wouldn't be playing Nickera off the bench.
he actually didn't really do very much when he came on, to be fair. He just did what he had to do.
The big question for Cronulla is, are Tringle and Hines going to have one of those games where they stand on each other's toes and nothing works?
Yeah. See, Tringle was the dominant one last week. Right.
I guess we'll see how they try and balance it this week.
Yeah, look, Ethan Strange, I still rate him so highly. He is such a good player.
For him this week, though, is he's not going to have as many favourable matchups in trying to find gaps because the centres and second rowers for Cronulla, for as much as most of them are fairly slow, they are very, very strong. Like Ramian, Wilton, Burns, they're all very, very strong. Hero is a very strong ball player. The Wednesday before the grand final?
Yeah, it's in grand final week.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I think that the Raiders will win this. I think it'll be a somewhat close defensive game, is my prediction. I think 20-12, something like that.
Yeah, I think the Raiders will do what they have to do to win. I don't know, after last week, they probably won't try and absolutely blitz them by 50 or something. They just get a win. So they keep going without getting too much more time.
It's a matter of how much gas they have left.
Yeah. And look, I was listening to Ricky's press conference, and he was saying, look, if they don't know what they're doing by this stage, more training this week's probably not going to make any difference, to be fair. So he's giving them a fairly light...
That's good methodology.
He's giving them a very, very light week leading into this one so that they can get their bodies back into 100% shape. Cronulla are boring.
It's stupid.
This game will be a lot more intense.
I like this game.
Dogs, Panthers at Ackles.
If it's a team that you hate and you like
This will be fun.
The Dogs win.
More injuries for the Dogs in the back line, but they get a return. So Tuala is out with a broken leg.
Yep.
But Bronson Sherry returns.
So does Reed Marnie.
Yeah,
According to that.
go read Marty. Yeah, because he was dropped for Toby Sexton last week.
Sexton starts at 7. That's probably very, very smart.
I like it. They started
Yeah.
at 4. That's good.
Come on, Bulldogs.
Even Crichton named in the reserves.
Let's see.
That's massive if he comes in.
If he can play, if they're not bringing him in too early,
Well, they don't have a choice to
they may not. Because this is the do or die game, right? So,
Panthers are unchanged.
Yeah.
They still don't have Mitch Kenny,
yeah,
but Luke Hamilton was serviceable. I don't mind him. He's fine.
yeah, he's all right.
This game could go either way. It's equally likely that
Dogs.
Dogs win this, but I also think that Penrith have more chops when it comes to finals football.
Well, they do, but there's no counting youthful vigor and all that sort of stuff as well, right? Because you've got some guys in the Dogs who are quite young, and Lachlan Gilbert, those sorts of people. They've got some good vigor there. Bronson Cherry's not young, but he's a good in.
Yeah, we've got a couple of former Panthers. So
Second Perez fully in for the week of training this time and whatever else. So
so good.
his battle with will be worth.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great. Great.
It's a hard runner versus a good ball playing winger.
Offload every time. Yeah.
And then it's what next versus Almighty, that's a wash. They're both pretty well the same.
I think it's hard to determine who has the advantage where. I think that obviously Penrith have Nathan Cleary, so that's an advantage. But the forwards is pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think maybe Isaiah Yeo is better than Jamin Salmon.
So that's right, because I think Viliami Kikau is better than Scott Sorensen.
Yeah.
So I think
they should be playing.
Jacob Preston and Liam Martin are the same.
Kind of. Yeah.
Jacob's not quite as grubby, but they're the same style of football, all right? Run hard.
Yeah. If we're going to go by how well each team played last week, I think the Dogs
Win?
I do too.
but
Especially with bringing Sexton in, which actually bolsters it, right? Makes it a better team.
it feels so nuts to be tipping against Penrith in the finals. Because
It's Penrith.
Yeah, and look, it could easily go Penrith, right? But the Dogs aren't in the top four by fluke.
No.
And we've seen that.
I
right?
think
So,
if the Panthers are going to win, I think they should try and get some outside runs from the second rowers and try and target Cherry and Burton as a centre combo. Because for as much as they are strong ball runners, Bronson Cherry especially is not the best defender. So maybe they can.
Matt's not a bad defender. I think Matt does fairly well. He sometimes falls off, but mostly he hits and sticks.
If you can have Liam Martin going at, or who's on that side? Liam Martin's the right edge. So who's the left centre? It's Burton.
Burton, yeah.
Burton. If you can get Liam Martin running at Matt Burton,
Same size, Burton's quite a big guy.
Burton is a very large man.
So, which is why he's got that prodigious boot.
Or maybe you try and target Rina Kama. You can do Jacob Carraz.
Yeah.
Carraz,
He'll make you pay a little bit.
Maybe if you had Jenkins, you could try. Because
Yeah.
Jenkins is a good high. I don't know. He has the finals experience. This is
And he's not a horrible footballer. I don't think he's got quite all the abilities that Jenkins has.
he's just kind of like a diet Brian Toto. They're pretty similar.
He's faster.
A bit faster, but Toto I think is a bit stronger.
Yeah.
So for the Dogs, it's all about Sexton, Galvin, and Burton.
And those three worked well together.
Sexton,
They did. So, and Marnie's back to come in off the bench, so he'll probably get under the skin of some of the Penrith dudes.
Pretty mighty goes
and then if Stephen Crichton comes in,
He's there because Kurt Van just generally plays at 13.
Kurtman usually is the one that rotates with Salmon, yeah. Then you have Hayes and Tupanua will be in the forwards. I think he's good. I think he matches very well with
Let's look at the interchange.
I would take, I think, the Panthers interchange right now.
Only because of Papali'i. I think everyone else is pretty close. I think Tupanua is better than Liam Henry.
Liam Henry could play up to 50 minutes. He's got a huge engine. Papali'i will play somewhere between 35 and 45 minutes. Luke Garner, well, yeah, he's also outside backs cover.
Yeah.
Works well. For the Dogs, I'm looking at Kurt Mann. He'll churn out 50-ish minutes at lock. Tupanua and Hazel each put out 35 minutes in the forwards. Reed Marnie could play either 5 or 35 minutes at hooker. I don't know what they're going to do.
I think it depends on how the game's going.
What very specific scenario would Bailey Hayward be better than, or in what scenario is Reed Marnie the better option than Bailey Hayward? What do you need?
I think it's close.
Then you put Martin's better kicking game.
Yeah, I think it's close. And he's still got not a bad passing game either. So,
Yeah,
and he can annoy the crap out of them a little bit too. So, yeah, no, I'm hoping the Bulldogs can do it, mostly because I dislike Penrith. But I know how good Penrith are in finals, so that's the other thing. The Bulldogs. Picked the Bulldogs by 2. And they're going to play Melbourne in the grand final.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
No, I hope not.
I also kind of hope the Dogs win,
Yeah.
just for the sake of maybe seeing the ceiling of this team for once. If they can show that here,
Look, if they play like that against Melbourne, and if Crichton can be back fully fit,
yeah, I think they need him. But where do you put him? Do you drop Sherry?
you probably have to.
What do you do?
You would probably drop Cherry.
Or do you
Or
play
bring
him on the wing?
Well,
Rena
Jeff
Karma.
that's possible.
Because he's
Or
starting
you
to
put Cherry onto the wing because he's been a winger as well.
Yeah, maybe that's what you do.
It could.
Put in the service with Syria.
Jethro or Jethro, you'd probably just miss out, buddy. But
The worst possible situation is they bring him in and push Burton into the halves and
Yeah.
drop Sexton.
they shouldn't do that. That would be the worst thing.
It reeks of the Jackson Purdue shenanigans up here.
Just push him into the centres, shift Matt Burton to Wellock and Galvin, and drop off.
With Galvin, yeah, that's going to happen.
They paid too much money for Lachlan Galvin at this point.
I think I don't think Penrith will win, but they probably will.
Going on, like you said, going on last week's efforts, Bulldogs were probably a little better.
Yeah, how much did it take out of them?
Yeah.
Because they lost very physically. Penrith won fairly, kind of coasted. So, but if we know anything about that this year, teams tend to kind of drop off if they win a game too easily.
Yeah, that can
That's
happen.
how Melbourne have gone this year.
It was raining in the week.
It rained and Penrith still won.
It rained.
It actually stopped. It
It
rained
rained
in the pre-game.
half.
Yeah.
And it rained in the first.
Only the first little bit of the first half. Yeah.
What's the weather going to be in Sydney on Saturday? The forecast currently says it's going to be fine, so I guess we will see.
Well, either. I mean, look, like you say, it's a toss of a coin. Go Bulldogs. I'm not Penrith there.
I wouldn't mind the Bulldogs.
We don't want Penrith in the final.
Someone who has a good chance of beating Melbourne, and unfortunately, I think Penrith have a better shot.
What do you want Penrith to keep winning?
I want someone to beat Melbourne.
We already did that.
They did it last year. It's time for Melbourne to get there.
That happened in 2020. It's the tiebreaker.
No. Go the Bulldogs.
I would love is a Raiders Bulldogs final possible?
Yes.
I hope that happens.
I think the Bulldogs, if they win,
But also
go to
Raiders-
Brisbane.
Raiders Broncos would be funny because it means my script prediction is working very, very well.
And if it was Raiders Broncos, it would be so good if Raiders beat them like the Cowboys did in 2015.
It would be perfect. Justin Clinton goes out and has one of the best, most successful seasons anyone has possibly ever had. This is just perfect. Jamal Fogarty in his final season as a Raider is champion. His young core gets great finals experience. Could be building a dynasty.
I feel more like it could be a Brisbane Melbourne grand final, to be quite honest.
Which, to its credit, would be a very good game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that at all,
Which
actually.
happened once before in 2006.
Yes.
Brisbane won that one.
I have one since.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the grand finals. You're happy with that storyline, Vic. They end their grand final drought by beating the team that they beat.
At the last time. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, go Bulldogs. Bulldogs by 2.
This, I have no idea who's going
Bulldogs
to
by 2.
Sure, why not?
Bulldogs by, I'm going to try.
Anything else? Patriots won. I'll take
I'm
that.
going to do that, Dally. I'm pretty
It
sure.
was really good.
We will be doing our official predictions for who's going to win Dally M's and all that jazz.
Yes.
You're going to have to wait and see.
Yes, you'll have to wait and see. We only have half as many games next week, so we have that time.
Yeah.
So that's what I will be doing for probably most of this week is researching who I think is going to win the
I will call it
It should be Isaiah Katoa. Please.
Tom Dick.
No. I don't know what to think of Tom Deere. We'll talk about that, I think.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks for your time again, everybody. If you like listening to a bunch of weirdos talking about football, like, subscribe.
Right now is the worst possible time because you get 2 regular videos
Weirdos,
and then it's the off season.
Weirdos is one.
Maybe we can do videos on the Big Bash.
Although I'll do solo videos on the NFL.
Well, you could do that as well.
Videos on the Big Bash.
You could do videos on the Big Bash.
The Patriots being terrible. They beat the Dolphins by 6. Woo. The Dolphins are so bad.
Who are the Dolphins franchise?
That's so terrible. Also would never have picked the Giants Cowboys was going to be game of the season. I have no idea how that game happened. And the Chiefs are 0-2, so
That's always good.
You all like the Chiefs.
You're kind of like Penrith. Everybody hates you.
everybody does hate them.
And they have a dynasty.
Also, I like the Colts now because Daniel Jones is really good.
We should think where we like compare like what teams are similar in the NFL and the NRL.
It's true. The one with the Steelers, I think.
The Panthers are the Chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are the Cowboys?
The Cowboys.
The Cowboys are probably the Cowboys.
No, because the Cowboys had like a period of being like really good and winning multiple Super Bowls, whereas the NFL Cowboys have one.
The Packers.
Maybe a couple of generational halfback talents. Maybe.
Anyway, that's for future references.
Yes.
Thank you again for your time. Have a wonderful week, and I hope your team does well unless you follow the Panthers.
Go Cowboys.
And go the Cowboys!
Cowboys.
Catch you guys.